Boring. Too slow.
Okay, fine.
Mr. It's boring. I need more battle.
What about this? Anime is an accepted form of media today, right? Wrong. So about a month ago, I was talking to a girl, which I know is hard to believe.
You don't talk to girls.
Correct. I do not. But this is the one time that I actually did. I swear to God, this is true. I listened to her talk about her hobbies for a good 20 to 30 minutes, like active listening, and then decided that it was time that I should share something about myself. Big mistake. I said that I watched anime like she watches Netflix. And I am not exaggerating at all. There was a good 5 to 10 seconds of just silence. And that was the end of that. Sure, anime is more accepted than it used to be, but it's still not actually accepted. People still associate it with immaturity, with over-the-top edginess and action, fan service, and other dumb shit, which, you know, I do kind of enjoy. But anime is so much more than that. And while you do know this, sometimes you can't help but start to believe that maybe those people are right. But then, every once in a while, an anime comes along and proves all those dumb, stupid baka stereotypes wrong and reminds you of just how varied and absolutely breathtakingly beautiful the medium of anime can be. A show that, if only those narrow-minded naysayers would just give it a shot, it could change their mind completely. We are talking about a show that may be good enough to do just that. This, as if you didn't already know by now, is Frieren. So, are you gonna help me out of here?
Dunno, haven't decided yet.
You know I'm literally dying, right? I have seen many people, myself included, compare Frieren to Lord of the Rings. You know, that little fantasy series by J.R.R. Tolkien? It's, like, kind of popular. And you know, I get it. They've both got elves and dwarves, magic and swords, ladies and lords, quest rewards.
Tarnished, I offer you an accord.
It's called High Fantasy. Yes, these are both high fantasy. But more than anything else, these two series are similar in that they both give you the same rare feeling. A feeling best described as nostalgia for events that you've never experienced yourself. But while Lord of the Rings takes you along on the hero's journey to defeat the Demon King, Sauron being the Demon King here, Frieren sets itself apart by starting at the end. And I know that a lot of you have heard this thousands of times already, but there's people that haven't, and this is for them. In Frieren, the Demon King is dead, defeated by the hero's party. And now, Frieren, our protagonist, who I swear to God is an unfathomably powerful mage, must figure out where to go from here. Because, as you know, every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end. Excuse me for a second while I know who! As an elf, a very old and wise elf, Frieren has lived for over 1,000 years and is effectively immortal, which warps her perspective on time and the importance of relationships. And Frieren's warped perspective allows for her growth in these areas to serve as a very human base for the themes explored in the story. Another aspect of Frieren as a character that people really seem to like is that she's a well-written female lead, which, okay. I really don't think it's that important. What is important is the lack of stupid, dummy, baka anime tropes. No isekai, no fourth wall breaking, no game mechanics, no fan service. Actually, never mind, there is fan service. This is the fan service that we get. And I love it. But the biggest, most annoyingest, stupidest, baka-ist, baka-detest trope that Frieren absolutely
Decimates
is anime's incessant need to be overly dramatic and action-packed all the goddamn time. Like, Jesus Christ, can't we just chill for 1 second? Please. Thank you. Frieren revels in its subtlety, its small yet meaningful interactions between characters. For example, Frieren X Mimic never fails to put a smile on my face. And then it comes up from behind and it hits you over the head with a This is what makes Frieren absolutely amazing. It's subtle and emotional when it needs to be, and then when it actually makes sense. Frieren gives you some of the craziest action sequences in modern anime. Action sequences that actually hold some weight too, by the way. Mob Psycho! Sorry, Mob. And the entire time, the whole way through, the animation is absurd, and the music, just don't even get me started on it. Frieren's production is the absolute peak of what anime has to offer. Whom we have to thank for none other than the Studio Madhouse. It's history lesson time. History lesson time! Way back when, in 2010, back when kids rode dinosaurs to school, oftentimes even having to carry their dinosaurs uphill both ways in the middle of a snowstorm. Back in those days. Well, first off, back then, the only Westerners who watched anime back then were those special needs kids who would Naruto run down the hallways. But if you were to ask those kids what their favorite studio was, they would say something along the lines of Back then, most people would probably say Studio Madhouse, because Madhouse made literally all of the good anime back during the 2000s era. But then they lost 3 of their 4 founding members, and most of their staff. One of the founders died, and a lot of the staff just got sick of working on the same fucking car movie for 7 years straight. It was a really good car movie, don't get me wrong, but the once great Studio Madhouse slowly faded into irrelevancy. And they've been quietly rebuilding ever since. Recently, Madhouse has focused more on softer, more light-hearted stories, such as their 2023 romance, loving Yamada at level 999. Jesus Christ. Which, for a rom-com aimed at girls, I thought was pretty good. But you know, looking back on it, you can't help but feel that this more reserved and subtle storytelling was all in preparation for the eventual masterpiece that is Frieren. Frieren is the type of show that the anime industry needs to break free from the over-the-top melodrama and edginess and action that's become so common it's mundane these days, and instead focus on good character writing. The anime industry needs humanity, which is ironic because Frieren herself is technically not a human. Frieren explores concepts like life, death, religion, what it means to be human.
What to do with the time that is given to us.
And it does so in a very mature, non-condescending, and this is very important, non-condescending way that's easy to understand. Yet it does offer depth if you look for it. Frieren will make you break down into tears. Yet, ultimately, you'll feel happy about it. Frieren will make you appreciate life and the people in it, the company of others, how we affect and help each other grow. And it does all of that in the most beautiful way possible. And this base, this core of ideologies and appreciation for life, it all remains at the core as the story evolves into a fully fledged epic high fantasy adventure, allowing people to appreciate the story for different reasons, but for everyone to still walk away from it all with the themes of humanity. And in a world where people are becoming more and more chronically online, myself included, and Skynet is about to take over the world, Frieren is just the type of story that we need. This is a story that deserves to be experienced by everyone, or at least those with the mental capacity to grasp its themes. And it's a story that can only be told through the wonderful medium of anime.